Hey everyone, just give me a second. All right. Okay. So, hey everyone. Sorry for the last minute notification. I really wasn't actually planning on even buying this guy, but since he was here, since Toy Dojo sent him, I decided to go ahead and just buy one from him from Toy Dojo and go ahead and open up and do a quick live stream. I might do a full review at a later date, maybe in the next couple of days. But I thought you guys would really enjoy a live stream of and give you an idea of what you're getting into with Goose. So first off, the packaging is really long. It's really tall. Just to give you an idea of how tall it is, here he is with MP44. So pretty long, pretty thin. It's pretty standard packaging though. We're not going to really talk about that much. All the stats and the bio and product images are on the back. That's the only thing you guys probably care about. I actually didn't collect the Maverick, but I had one here, so I decided to buy one from Toy Dojo from here as well. I literally just took him out of the box just to show you guys a robot mode comparison. I'm not going to do any transformations for him because I literally don't know anything about that figure. So here he is out of the packaging. From what I can tell, it's the similar type of packaging that we got with Maverick with the styrofoam, but they actually have the plastic cover instead of the dual layered or triple layered styrofoam. He does come with his stat card, and again, sorry for the light. And then his stats on the back. It's interesting that he has a 9.5. It might be blurry because I can only live stream only lets me stream at 720p, so I can't do anything higher than that, unfortunately. So I don't know if that's just the 720p limitations of YouTube Live, but again, I might do a full review of this later. Just give me a second. Let me see if I can switch to maybe my stronger or faster. Continue on. We're only talking about the booklet anyway. The actual booklet itself is not bad, but the instructions can be kind of confusing because they just zoom in on random parts and it's not really that logical. They actually skip a couple of steps that are pretty important. The big thing to note here, I would say, is that like their Menosaur, there are no combiner parts with this guy. I'm guessing it's going to be the same style where they didn't really tell you, but the core bot's not going to have the combiner parts, obviously, because both of those came out already. And the last limb is going to have it, I would imagine now. And it's going to be a much larger box and more expensive. So if you guys are expecting all four of the limbs to be the same price as Goose, I'm going to let you know you're probably in for a rude awakening. The only accessories you get with this guy are his 2 handguns and an alternate face. That's it. No, I'm not sick. I am tired, to be perfectly honest. Like I said, I wasn't planning on doing this review, and then I got kind of talked into doing it. So here is his alternate face. Here's his yelling face, or crying face, as the Japanese call the yelling face. I really don't know why. He does have 2 guns. Hey, Jeff, no problem. Happy to do the live stream. Hey, Clinical, how's it going? Eat some pho? I would love to. Wish they included a stand. They actually show the stand, flight stand, in here in his alt mode. I don't see how you would be able to use the flight. Oh, maybe it wasn't on this picture, but one of the images they show it with a flight stand online, and there is no real indicator of this actually working with their flight stand. So the fact that they didn't include one is probably because it doesn't work with it. All right, so we were talking about the guns. The guns do transform. They have a little tab back here, and this peg will go into the bottom side of his wing for alt mode. As normal, you can go ahead and tab in the gun, like so. Close up the fingers. Before we do all of this review stuff, this is how he came out of packaging. He's not fully transformed. There are a couple things that you need to know. So, first of all, I don't know why this isn't closed all the way. First of all, the toes and the heels aren't out, so just flip those out. No big deal. The other thing that I noticed is I didn't notice this until I was transforming him. His chest isn't actually tabbed in all the way, so you just want to lift his neck up, lift this chest panel up, and the two pieces that actually hook the sides in, the chest in, are folded in. I don't know why they did that. He actually never needs to have this folded up, from what I can tell, in any of his modes. So I don't know why they actually have an ability to hide it. But it should be like this to lock the chest in. Otherwise, the tight shoulder ratchets will actually untap the chest. So tab the neck back in, and here we have him actually in his robot mode. Sorry, let me scooch this up a little bit. And he looks really nice from the front. Nice paint details, metallic colors here on the chest, on the red, on the arms. It has like metallic flake in a lot of places. It looks really sharp. The only eyesore from the front are these really big holes here, which I imagine that is for the foot pegging in for combined mode. It doesn't have any other use in his modes, other modes. But unlike the more recent figures we got with him, this guy has a huge backpack. That's pretty big. I was joking that we now know where the rest of Spoiler's backpack went. It went to feeding this guy's backpack. It is very large. It is not very clean, I would say. And just taking a look at it from all angles, it just looks kind of awful. But that being said, it is pretty, I guess, compact, dense, and he is very stable with his heels and everything like that. But from the front, he looks good. So he has kind of like the Takara new masterpiece style. Look at him from the front and it looks good. Just don't look at him or Bumblebee version 2 from any other angle and you should be good. All right, so when I say compact, I mean it's like dense. Like they collapsed it up and it feels at least solid. It doesn't feel super hollow and light. So dense is the word I was looking for. Anyway, as far as articulation goes, let's start with the head. It's on a swivel and a hinge. And his stock face actually looks really nice as well. Nice gold painted with like my left shoulder, like when it gets to here, like it is scary ratcheted. This one feels fine, nice and smooth. This one near the top, like I feel like I might break something. Yeah. Shoulders go out this far. He has a bicep swivel up here. Elbow that only goes 90 degrees or so. Single elbow joint. He does have a wrist swivel. And his fingers. So Ron, for this, you can do that, but for the official transformation, it's folded up like this. But you can actually open this up and go like that if you'd like to have his backpack be even further. So people are probably going to ask, hey, can you do a comparison with X, Y, and Z aerial bot? I don't have any other aerial bots from other companies, so I apologize for that. So I can't do any comparisons there with like Zeta or whoever else has one. So where was I? So the fingers are individually articulated. They have at the base of the hand, and they have the one pin joint here, and the thumb is on a ball joint that swivels around. So quite nice and standard for fans toys. Kind of blocky, but that's kind of their style. He does have a waist swivel. You will notice that on this side, if you swivel it too much, he has this little thing, this flap here. So you can't actually rotate his waist to that side. You can only rotate it this way. It just is what it is. It's just kind of weird. So this panel just sticks up like that. You can't rotate his waist to the left because of this thing. I don't know. There's nothing else to say about that other than I'm shocked that I've never seen a figure that you can only rotate his waist one direction. No ab crunch. That panel is for filling up the alt mode. Yeah, so you do need it. You can't just like get rid of it because then you're alt mode. Yeah, yeah. Anthony's right. He can throw a mean left hook and no right hook. Yeah. See, so you'll see how it folds closed later. But anyway, it is what it is. His hip skirt comes up to the front and to the side. So he has ratchets. They're nice and tight. He can get about 90 degrees. For some reason, it doesn't want to go more than that to exactly 90 degrees. He can go back until he hits his backpack. Friction going out to the side. He does get some interference up here. So he only goes about that far. He does have a thigh swivel, and it's not a block one, which is great. I hate those. He does have a knee bend. They're okay. I wish they were a little bit stronger. You saw earlier that they kind of flopped a bit. Like if you hold it, he's definitely going to flop around. But if you're like this, it's not like it's going to come loose. So it's tight enough. He has an ankle rocker or tilt. He does have a tiny bit of forward, tiny bit of back. Not really worth talking about, to be honest. And then his transformation joints for his toe and his heel. So the weight is good. I could weigh him. Hold on. I don't know that people really care in the live stream for the weight, but let's go ahead and weigh him. I think this is going to be coming in out as pounds. So he is 1 pound 3 ounces. Let's get that out the way. What else can we talk about? Oh, his face. The face you just pull up on the chin to release it. I would recommend like a tool. You can even untab the neck to get a little bit more of an angle. And that's it. And you can tab in the screaming face if you want. Like so. Tab that back in. Now he's angry because he can't turn left. Oh yeah, he has like the Zoolander thing. He can't turn left. Or he can't, Zoolander couldn't turn right? I don't even know. Anyway, I'm getting off track here. So the comparisons, they'll compare him to MP10, not MP10, MP44. I'm just so used to that. Since I have him, 45. And like I said, I literally just took this guy out of the box. That's why I was actually a little bit late starting up this live stream. So here's Maverick. I don't even think this is transformed correctly. And if this is supposed to be, I hope it's not supposed to be this loose. And it doesn't seem tab together. So I'm not impressed with this guy out of the box so far. But you can see how they scale. Yeah, I just noticed he still has tissue on the backpack. So yeah, he's fresh out of the box. I'm hoping he's better than his first impressions have led me to believe. All right. So I'm not going to do any more comparisons. Let's get into transformation. They only show... oh, he is? Okay, good. All right. Thanks for letting me know he's transformed outside of the box. All right, great. So they only show transformation to his alt mode, so I'll show that. And then I've spent a little bit of time investigating what his combined mode would be. Obviously, I don't know exactly what it would be, but I'm pretty confident that I know what his alt mode, his combined mode is going to look like. So I'll show that off. And then because it's late, I'll probably save that for the full review. So let's go ahead and get started. I think it's easiest to start with the arms. That's kind of how they start as well. Just go ahead and open up the panel. Make sure the fists are curled up. Fold that in. Tab that underneath. We can do that for the other side as well. His arm transformation is kind of unique. So this guy uses a lot of double hinges and a lot of sliding joints. So come out to the side here. There's a little tab section. You want to pull this up like so. And how this works is this is on a small double hinge. So you basically want to pull out and push up on this. And you'll see this little piece here come down. You can't do this while the arms are out like this. Like this doesn't work. You need to have the arm perfectly flat like this or forward, but it can't be, this shoulder piece can't be laterally hinged when you do this. So make sure this is as far in as possible. Squeeze this in because that'll give you just enough room to make that vertical. And this tab will now go into this slot up here. You will then close the arms by collapsing them like so. So again, you basically want to push out on this. When this little die cast piece comes out, make sure it goes vertical. But remember, you need to have the shoulders square here, not angled out at all, or you're not going to have the clearance because there's a little molded piece that interferes. So make sure that's all the way in. Close that up. Collapse the arms and come to the side. You can lift up the arms straight. Again, you can't lift them out to the side. Just rotate them to the front. You can access this little section here, what we talked about before, and then undo the neck. All right. From here, you're going to untap the chest as we saw before. Lift this up. And this is where it also gets kind of weird. So like I said, there's a lot of sliding joints here. The first set of sliding joints you'll see are on the shoulders themselves. This entire section here that rotates is actually on a slider. So when you have the chest up, you need to slide it forward, start rotating it in, then slide it back. Okay, so then we'll just leave these out for now. Then when you rotate it in this way, you get the arms in, and then you slide them back a tiny bit again. So it's just a bunch of sliding around. So slide it forward, rotate it, slide it to the outside all the way. That'll give you just enough clearance. And when I say clearance, this stuff is rubbing now. Just enough clearance to get in. I don't like that this rubs. There's no way around it that I found. You basically just have to push it in and then, again, push that sliding joint until it's collapsed. And that's how the chest hides the arms. From here, you can go ahead and tab this back in. You'll see there's tabs on the shoulder pieces. And then close this back up like we did before. Close up the neck and rotate the head around. All right, sorry, I'm not really reading all the comments just because I'm trying to get through all this. So I'll try to get to questions later. All right, so where were we? Upper body. So we tabbed this in to get this locked. We can let's deal with the legs first because this actually makes things a lot easier dealing with the backpack last. So we go in reverse of what we had before. Fold in the heels, fold in the toes. This piece, these fins, they may or may not be tabbed in when you come out of the box. This tab here goes in this slot. So if they're not, you just push them in, and that's how it goes. But so, down and around. They just get out the way for now. Then we're going to go deal with the legs collapsing. So like I said before, there's a lot of double hinges in this kind of combiner word-esque. Instead of forward and back, this is actually to the side. So we're going to have this sliding joint come out and collapse on the double hinge. I find that these skirts get in the way, so just so you don't damage them, go ahead and just move them out of the way. And then you can close this up. If you want the landing gear out at this point, you can do it now. You just open up the kneecap, out the landing joint, and close that up. And then you can close this up again, like so, and get the hip skirts down. From here, you can rotate this down and kind of slot this piece in to that dark gray piece there. So it sits out to the side, and that's in the correct orientation now. So same thing on the other side. I'm going to open up this panel. Like I said, I want to get the hip skirts out of the way, slide this out, rock this all the way down, like so. Open up this section here because it's just easier to access that way. Close it up. Close this up. And then you can get both halves together. Oops, sorry. This needs to rotate in this way, like so. All right, just make sure both halves are tabbed together like this. And now we can get to the backpack, which is like the meat of the transformation. Ron says the Zeta one's already an easier transformation. I don't know, like I said. This one's pretty simple overall, but it just does have its kind of idiosyncrasies. So let's see here. The first thing we'll do is we want to pull out on this tab here to release this die cast joint. Second thing we'll have to do is this tab here is tabbed into the backpack. We just want to kind of just loosen that up. Let's do that for both sides real quick. Again, right around here, I want to loosen that tab, and you'll see this die cast joint. Pull out on this. Be careful because there is paint here. So just pull out on that, and that releases the backpack. This whole backpack is on a series of hinges here that will come back, and like I said, this door will close around that. But we'll talk about that in a bit. What did I miss? All right, so coming here, we can deal with the wings at any point. Let's just leave them compact for now. I'm going to go ahead and pull this section around. It's tabbed in like so. This is going to make the rear section. And how this works is originally when we had it transformed, these pieces are down to the side with these little hooks. You just basically straighten these out on these hinges, and you want to get this completely straight. One other thing to note is that this last hinge piece that you see here is actually a slider. So we won't really need that for transformation until we do combined mode. I figured that out later. But when you transform this, because you need this to go as far back as possible, make sure you have this fully extended on that pin joint. All right, from here, you can close this up. These two halves, like I said, just go up on those double hinges. If I can get it like so, the two halves. And then you just push them down onto the back of the legs. You'll see these rectangular sections here. Push that down. The whatever stabilizer back here, you do need to pull that out just a bit because it tabs into the back here. And there's actually a set of tabs that you can't see. You just want to push down on this rear tail section, and it tabs into the back of the legs. Like so. Tab in these two halves, straighten this vertical stabilizer out, and you're basically done with this section here. All right, we'll do the wings last. Coming up front, we unpeg these two sections. We're going to open up the cockpit because we need to get the landing gear out. To do that, we pull forward on this control panel, pull up on the seat, and then when we come here to the bottom, we open up these two halves, and then we can push where I guess the rear seat, I think these F-16s had two seats. This one only has one, where the co-pilot would be, or whoever would be, where Goose would sit in comparison to Maverick, I guess. You push this down and through, and you'll see that there was a hole here designated for this. So, quick note here, this is also a tiny slider. So when I said there's a lot of double hinges or triple hinges and sliders on this guy, I was not kidding. So there is also a slider here. A very small one. Is very easy to miss, but you need to collapse that in order for these tabs to reside in there, like that. Like I said, bring the landing gear down, close up the two halves. You can push back the seat, push back the control panel, close up the cockpit, and then finally, these two halves will come together over here. All right. Lastly, we deal with the wings. We basically just straighten them up. They are on small sliders as well to give you that clearance. So you'll extend them and then tab them by collapsing them in. Pull this up. You'll see a tab here. You'll see the section here. And then you'll also see this small kind of ridge here that coincides to this slot. The long and short of it is you just tab it in. There we go. That tabs in like so. Same thing on the other side, remembering to extend those sliding joints. tab them in, and bring this forward. Come on. I do find that there are a lot of tighter clearances on this figure. And I've mentioned them along the way, hopefully, that you understand that, so that you don't chip as much paint as you could potentially. So here we go. We have them in alt mode. The guns come back. Again, the handle folds back and tabs in. They go into a little peg hole right here under each wing. Theoretically, I haven't actually done this, but they should peg in. There we go. Just very, very tight. Somebody's probably out there typing, that's what she said. All right. So now he's all armored up. He is ready for any threat level midnight. 2 office references in 1 review. Michael Scorn would be proud. So here he is in alt mode. He actually looks quite nice. I will say the paint is not what I came to expect from Fans Toys. You usually expect like the really glossy paint, and you get that, like I said, in the robot mode, but in the alt mode, it's not like it is shiny, but it's like more of like a satin shiny, not high gloss. But the decos themselves are very clean here. You can see the lightning bolts here. The blue metallic is actually really nice. The nose cone is kind of a gunmetal, darker black. But overall, I think it looks quite nice in alt mode. Obviously, it still suffers from having a robot attached to the bottom of a jet. So it doesn't do the, you know, Macross magic of like hiding all that. But it still looks quite nice. I don't think I have any... Oh, that's a lie. So I always have a trusty MP10 mold nowadays instead of my streak in alt mode, so you can see just how long it is. And just how wide it is. I will say that in terms of overall quality, I think this core robot piece here feels really solid. The backpack pieces, like all these silver pieces and this piece up front, honestly feels like very cheap plastic, not what we've come to expect from Fans Toys. It's really kind of odd because here, the plastic feels really solid. Here, and here, not so much. Even here feels kind of flimsy. So it's interesting why they've done that. I don't really know why they did it. It could be for balance issues, since this is going to be the core of the leg as well. And a lot of this just hangs off the back of the leg on the calf in combined mode. But yeah, that's one thing right out of the box you'll notice, that all these silver sections really feel kind of like cheap. Yeah, so Jerry, that's what I was saying. I don't know if they were trying to save weight as so much as just balance issues, especially with the combiner, right? Yeah, I think the combiner issue, but these are the legs though, so I would think that they would be okay with keeping the legs pretty. There is no flight adapter for the stand. Buta no Li. There's nothing in there except these guns and an alternate face. This is actually the stock face. So all the combiner parts are likely going to be coming with the last limb. So, oh, cool thing though is you can open the cockpit, and if you have one of the nice new spikes, you can lift the control panel, tuck his legs in, and he actually fits in perfectly. Close it up, so Spike can now be a pilot. So that was really cool. The if you want to know, the one that comes with MP10 does not fit in, mostly because his hands are too wide and they don't squish in between here. You might be able to jam him in, but that was a cool little thing I found. But yeah, from the bottom here, there's no like flight stand tabs where it would go. So I don't know how the images that they have, but they've been known to do that before, kind of fake the flight stand uses on some of their figures. The only other thing I would say about alt mode in terms of playability besides the wheels is that the wheels are actually kind of annoying because you have to basically partially trim this whole front section to get this back in. And even here, it's easier to go through here, but if you have fingernails, you can come in underneath here and close this up. But the front section, you have basically have to retransform the entire nose cone to get this back in. Josiah, I do have seekers, but none of them in alt mode. So I might try to do a comparison in my full review, but this is a live stream. I just wanted to make it fairly quick. How would you compare to the other aerial bots that have been made by third party? So Patrick, as I mentioned earlier, I have no other FP scaled aerial bots. I don't even think I have any aerial bots at all. Yeah, I don't think I have any whatsoever of any scale. So unfortunately, I don't have any comparisons. But one of the guys that's local to me, Ron Wu, he's actually in the chat right now. He has them, and he's been trying to. He just said, "Do you want me to bring them tomorrow?" Ron, if you would actually let me borrow them for my full review, I would actually appreciate it. The weight is 1 pound 3 ounces, Gal. We did that actually earlier. If you're joining a little bit later, you'll be able to rewatch this when it goes live after we finish, and then you can go ahead and catch everything later. Yeah, Ron's supposed to come and pick one of his up tonight, but I'm doing a review, so I told him not to come. All right, so we're not gonna go back into robot mode, but I did want to show you what I believe is a very close approximation to his combined mode. And this is just what I'm seeing from the renders that they showed online, so don't hold me to this, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and take this off, and I might not remember. I only did this once, so I might not remember exactly how I had it configured. We want to come up to the front, split this open. Let's actually deal with the wings too. Get these untabbed. It just makes it easier because we need to get this section open. They are nice in adding a little slots everywhere to allow you to untab sections. So that is actually quite nice. So we'll do that. Remember, this was tabbed in here. We want to bring this up. And so one of the things that I noticed is that when transforming, there's a swivel here. And if you look at the images, you'll see when it's in the combined mode that the nose cone isn't pointing up. So that was one immediate clue. So let's go ahead and get the landing gear in. Come on. Again, another tight clearance. It makes it very hard to get all this stuff in without potentially damaging your figure. So close this up, close that up. And from what I can tell, this is how it's configured for combined mode. And it's going to sit like this. But we'll get to that. We still have some other stuff to do. So we're going to partially go back into robot mode, essentially. Some of the things you need to do are first release these tail fins, because you're going to have to pull up on this, and this whole section is actually going to split like we did before. And I remember having a hard time splitting this tail section. Ow, there we go. So we're not going to actually transform it back like this. We're going to split it like we were in his robot mode and bring these back and down. Come on. They're on double hinges. They should come back and down like that. So they're not going to tab together. They're going to have a split in the middle like so. The legs will need to split. And the reason is, here, let me open this up. The reason is, remember this sliding joint I told you about right here? If you look in between the legs, there's actually a U-shaped groove on each side. And that's because we're going to have to collapse this entire section here all the way in. This will go into the groove here. if I can get it in. There we go. See, I'm a little worried that this joint here. This is actually very flimsy, as you can see here. This whole section, like I said, this whole gray section and the backpack is lower quality plastic than the base robot figure. In any case, once we have that sliding joint in, you can collapse both of the legs back together, like so. All right. This piece will come back. This piece will come back, just close that up. And it was very clear from the images that this section goes back. These don't fold up or tab in anywhere as far as I can see. And even in the product images, you can see that they're splayed open like this. This thing comes up, and you'll see this black piece here will tab into the tail section right about here. Sorry, it's very hard to do this on camera, especially live. It's supposed to go like that. There we go. Finally got it. Same thing on this side, this tab section here. So that kind of secures that bottom piece. These stay open, and you can see just how this sits kind of perfectly in this groove, but there's no tab whatsoever. There's no tabs here that I can find. There's no sections here that you could even possibly tab into. And then these things just stay like that. The wings, from what I can tell, rock up, and they tab in on the side. Here, let's just do this. Oh, sorry. You have to fold them, tab in like this. And I think that's it. I thought I remembered there was something that tabbed here, but in any case, it's something like this. Something like this. Based on all the images, this is basically his leg. This section's right. I know this section's right. They never show the back of it, so you can't see really exactly how this goes. But this sits pretty nicely. Nicely meaning it kind of slots in, but it doesn't tab in. And these sections are very clearly open like this in the product images. Like I said, the foot will probably tab in here into these big sections in the front. I don't know how confident I am with this because, like I said, this thing just flops around. These sections up here don't tab in anywhere. So this all feels kind of flimsy. When you're messing with the leg, I don't know how you would actually grab this and feel comfortable holding this as a leg. But again, take this with a grain of salt. Like I said, there are no instructions on this. I just pieced this together from what I could see, what was kind of logical in terms of transformation, and what the various renders showed. There might be some other stuff up here. It feels like might be some stuff hidden up here because these look like tabs of some sort, but those are all going to be kind of like connections to the knee joints, so I don't think that has any bearing on this backpack portion. So yeah, that's really it for the review, the live stream. I'm not going to go into any other transformations or anything like that. I'll save that for the full review if I decide to do that. Maybe if Ron Wu actually comes by and lets me borrow Zeta, I can do some comparisons, or at least for this guy, for their skydive. But from now, I'll actually take some questions. The head, I don't think the head goes into the chest. We can experiment, but I don't see how the head would go into the chest because it's on a neck panel. And the entirety of the arms take up the chest. So there's no way that I could see this doing that. Unless they have some mass shifting magic. Next question. Clinical said he's still happy with TFC Uranus. Or am I buying it? So TM Reviews, a good buddy of mine, he asked if I'm buying it. I had to buy it. I don't, like I said, whenever I review stuff, people assume that I just get to review stuff for free. I had this year as part of Toy Dojo stock, and because he had some shipped here. So if I decided to review it, I bought it. So I bought it. Maybe I'll resell it. Yeah, James, I was also hoping it would be tagged together a little bit more. What's your opinion on the recently announced MP Raiden? We talked about that Rugelhide on TM Reviews channel on our live stream last Wednesday, and it was, for me, I said I don't give a crap because I don't care about trains, I don't care about Raiden, so we'll see. And I don't even know if they announced it as MP yet. Yeah, Eddie theoretically could take it back from me as like a store sample, but I don't like doing that to him. Like I said, when I when I do stuff for review, I pay for it almost always. Do you think it will scale with Constructor? I think it's supposed to, right? I don't know the official size that they mentioned, but I think it will scale. Since I'm answering questions, I'm just gonna go ahead and transform him into robot mode because this just looks kind of ridiculous leaving him like this and just holding him around as a kind of block. So go ahead and keep answering questions. I'll be paying more attention to the questions than transforming him. Did you back HasLab Unicron? I did. I actually backed twice. I'm getting 2. Make his backpack correct. I don't know how to make his backpack correct aside from putting it back the way it was. Let's see here. Let's deal with the... Oh, that's why. I was like, why isn't this backpack moving? Again, the sliding joint here, this piece here. The backpack is like a mini jet. I don't know that there might be a way to do that, but okay, well, we can mess with it. Yeah, they recently showed the concept of the city mode for Unicron, and it looks awful. Like they're even trying. Things feel okay-ish. These feel okay-ish. They're not as solidly tight as I would like them to be because they're on sliders, but they're okay. Ron, you're asking for me to do miracles here, man. I can't change the engineering on this figure. It is what it is. We can try to make it look like something else, but don't expect me to be able to make something out of nothing. All right. Other questions? I'll go for at most another 15 minutes until we get to a full hour. That's as much time as I'm going to devote to this live stream. The Zeta Unicron actually looked very good. I thought it looked quite nice. A lot cleaner. Too bad the size is very small, but I might still be in for it. I think I missed a question here. Thanks, Anthony. All right. So I don't think I missed any questions. Wings position. Oh, okay. So you wanted. So you say correct, but that's not the way that they tell you to transform it. So you just have like a fan mode that you want it to be done. All right. So let's see here. How would that even work though? Because I would have to move this up. So for robot mode, you definitely have to extend. See, this scares me here. So now that I had that collapsed all the way in. Oh, there we go. All right. So I think this piece has to go like this. That backpack, if I'm not mistaken. And if I'm not mistaken, this has to close. All right. So we're getting close. What other questions? point out the die cast. Die cast, there's some in the toes usually. Yeah, so these look like all, maybe not this one, but the toes are definitely die cast. I think the thighs are die cast from what I can tell. I think parts of the chest are die cast. I think like this section here. There's a lot of die cast in the joints you can see here. There's some other ones. Oh, down here on these sections here. So a lot of the joints are die cast. Yeah, Ron, I don't know if we can actually do what you're asking, because this flap. Well, oh, okay. So looks like Ron's fan mode does work because you can get this slotted in this way. Maybe this is an actual alternate transformation. All right. So if you want to do Ron's fan mode, you basically just transform it like the jet. You can kind of slot this panel in like that, maybe. But then if you do it this way, there's nothing holding this backpack part with the top here. And you can't transform this either. Unless you want to transform it. Do you want to transform it like this? Yeah, I don't know if this is gonna work. Because you can't close up these wings. You out like this, but you can't actually have them straight because this joint gets in the way. So have his backpack the way it was in bot mode. So that means I'll have to split this. Why am I doing this for you, Ron? Why am I catering to this? Like I said, it's not that I feel like anything is going to potentially break. It just feels a lot cheaper than what we've come to expect. So we could bring this back up. These tab in up here. And then you want the wings like this. Like I said, I can't tab these in. It's not possible this way because of the way that the joints are. So that's why they make you go like this and then fold the wings back. So I can make it go like this. This is about as close as I think you wanted it. But this is basically what we had before, except this was folded up. So if you want it like this is also fan mode, sure. I don't know. I don't know about the promo shots. All right, so we're almost back into robot mode, so let's just get there. Untab the neck, get this up, and then the arms. So again, when we're doing the arms, you have to work with these sliders. I said I wasn't going to transform this guy back, and I ended up doing it just because of Ron. All right, slide this down like so you can see how they're uneven, and then you kind of just push this out. You got to slide this back in, straighten it out, and slide it back out. So again, a lot of sliding. Slide. Get these tabbed in. Close this up. Close this up. Open up this panel here. And on tabs. So you want to extend the forearm to get the elbow out. You do want to pull it all the way until it locks into place. There is a definitive snap when it locks into place fully extended. And you'll actually see that it becomes flush here. I'm gonna rock this all the way down, close that up. We can extend the elbows here. There we go. Open this panel, rock this all the way around, and get his fist out. And we're back in robot mode. Well, fan robot mode for Ron Wu. I expect the Zeta Toys skydive at my house tomorrow as thank you for wasting my time doing this fan mode for you. So yeah, if you want this fan mode, you can do that. The quote-unquote correct one is to fold this around like this. It's whatever floats your boat or flies your plane. This way or this way. Either way, it's a pretty big backpack. And for those that missed it, again, he can only turn to the right. He cannot turn left. And yes, I am serious. Unless there's some magic way that I'm missing that you can do this. But unless you can warp through plastic, that's just how it is. They actually bend 90 degrees, yeah. Well, very close to 90 degrees, maybe. I mean, 88 degrees. I don't know, maybe I can pull this out a little bit. No, that's as far as it goes. It's a single jointed elbow. All right, who else has questions? No, so Josiah, so as far as quality, this main bot form, like here forward, he feels just like every other Fans Toys figure that you would expect. Very solid. The plastic is very nice and dense. This stuff back here feels a lot cheaper. It doesn't feel like the same quality of plastic. It's a lot more hollow in these sections. It just doesn't feel as weighty or as solid overall. But as a figure, like he feels solid. 1 pound 3 ounces. That's pretty solid. Let's see. Yeah, so I mean, everyone does have to remember he is a triple changer in this sense, since he does do combined mode. Even though I think his combined mode is pretty weak, I think his robot mode is actually quite nice. Again, he has a Takara quality. Look at him from the front, and he's great. Look at him from an angle, and then you start going to the side. You're like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? But he doesn't have like boat feet, like Bumblebee. Although the alternate transformation for Bumblebee's feet is actually kind of nice. The fan mode one, it's a lot better than the boat feet. But yeah, I mean, we this is also quote unquote accurate, right? To have this big chunk on his back. Maybe if it was a little bit more compressed. So from what I'm seeing, I was always kind of interested in the Zeta one. Who knows? I might go back and pick this up. Ron, I'm on my phone. I'm not going to get your text. All right, Ryu asks, when is your review for MMC Blast Off? If you don't, oh yeah, sure. TM, I've already talked about accessories a bunch of times. This all he has is his gun and his face. That's it. There's nothing else. If you want to see this guy with Blast Off, here he is with MMC's Blast Off. I know I did promise to do a review of this guy. I will get to him. There are a couple reasons why I haven't done this yet, but I will be getting to him. He looks quite nice. Oh, other news. So a lot of you guys may have seen 598's video of Gravestone, their Motormaster. He posted up a transformation instructions for that. I'll actually be getting that maybe this weekend, more likely on Monday. And he's actually graciously volunteered to do a live stream with me going over Gravestone. So we'll actually have a live stream sometime next week with 598 Robots doing a live stream with their Gravestone. So keep an eye out for a live stream and probably a full review of that sample sometime next week. So we'll be a busy week. Yeah, see, this just looks stupid. You gotta have it symmetrical at least. So I'm just gonna go ahead. Be careful again with some of the paint. You can see here that I have some paint chipping on the yellow in particular around these edges. And the silver can also scratch. I have a couple places where the silver is scratched. And again, technically these should be folded up and tabbed in for what they call their robot mode. Although Ron is not that wrong. Like here, they have this folded out like this, so I don't really know why the instructions show the other way. Maybe Ron's thinking about going this way. Ron, is this what you're talking about? Again, I can't see your photo because I'm on my phone, so I'm not going to get your text. Maybe Ron is talking about maybe this way. Maybe this is the way they want it. Like this? He's probably like, yes, finally. You're an idiot. But that's not how it came out of the packaging, and I don't know that that's how they showed it in some of the product images. So, oh yeah, that might be right. Yeah, so in the product images, they do have it like this. That's not how he came out of the box, but it looks like this might be the way he had it. So yeah, this could be the official way. They don't really show because it comes out of the box in a different orientation than this. Yeah, okay, so this looks like it might be the right way. But I don't know that his... Well, I can't see enough of the back to see this, but either way, you get the idea. You can zigzag these however you'd like. If you want to go forward like this, go ahead. All right, so we're coming up to the end of the hour that I was going to devote to this. I do have work tomorrow, so if you guys don't have anything else that you need from me, again, aside from comparisons with other versions of Hyperion or Skydive, because I don't have any, we'll go ahead and sign off. Let's see. So, like Maverick and Blur mistransformed in box. Yeah, possibly. Hey, Jason, how's it going? All right. Let's go ahead and put his gun in. We haven't really shown him off with... I think his articulation is pretty good. Nothing crazy. Like I said, the bummer with the waist articulation. And no ab crunch, which is kind of the new thing. Everybody seems to love ab crunches and butterfly joints. No butterfly joints here either. But I think he's very solid. Hey, Tony77. I feel like I haven't seen you in a while either. So, good to see you. He's got his gun. He can do his, like, dynamic posing. He is pretty stable since he has a decent amount of ankle rocker. But he's probably not going to be doing the Iron Man pose anytime soon. But yeah, he feels quite solid. He looks pretty dynamic, even without some of the joints. But yeah, that's really going to be it. I think we've lingered long enough. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the live stream review. Like I said, I'll try to do another full review of this where you guys can see it in much nicer quality, and I'll try to do comparison with Maverick, who I just took out of the box for the first time, and from what I understand is drastically mistransformed. So I will go ahead and figure this out at some point and do a review. Keep an eye out for the live stream for Blastoff, MMC stuff, Rocket Max's Blastoff, and then next week we'll also have a X-Transbots Gravestone live stream, and maybe also a full review of that as well, of a pre-production sample. All right. Thanks a lot, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Thanks for joining all 90 of you. All right. Thanks. All right. Have a good one, all.